Hello. Welcome to the weekly Top 10 news brought to you by supporying, the world's first online community dedicated to solar energy. A group of British solar and construction companies has announced its intention to claim £140 million or $222 million in damages against the government of its handling of reductions to the solar feed-in tariff in 2011 and 2012. Initially set at 43 pence per kilowatt-hour, in October 2011 the government indicated that it would cut the rate to 21 pence per kilowatt-hour, to come into effect on 12 December. 17 companies are to be represented in the claim against the Department of Energy and Climate Change. The claim is based not on the justification behind the government cuts, but rather the manner in which it was carried out, which saw public confidence in photovoltaics plummet and the number of installations drop by as much as 90%. Chile's National Energy Commission says it is feasible to connect up to 2.2 gigawatts of solar plants to the national grid over the next 15 years, in a newly published plan for the expansion of the national transmission system. The new report lists 13 solar plants with a combined capacity of 1.5 gigawatts that are expected to come online on to 2028. The report states that the cost of building solar plants is equal to or only marginally higher than the price of building coal generation plants. Concentrated solar power (CSP) will power 3 floating laboratories in Lake Neuchtel, Switzerland, currently under construction by Swiss energy company Videos and project developer Nolaris. The labs are located close to a water purification plant, 150 meters from the shore, connected to the grid, and will act as research facilities to demonstrate the effectiveness of CSP on water and whether this could be adapted to other solar technologies like PV. Each floating laboratory is 25 meters in diameter and will carry 100 PV panels. Each panel will be back-to-back on a 45 degrees incline. The islands can rotate 220 degrees in the direction of the sun, tracking it throughout the day, and are anchored by concrete blocks at the bottom of the lake by cables. They will also be connected to the shore by cables and connected to the electricity grid by Videos inverters. Volkswagen switched on its largest photovoltaic installation worldwide in its solar park of 33 acres next to its plant in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where Volkswagen employs 3,000 workers and produces the Passat midsize sedan for the U.S. market. This 9.5 megawatt solar PV plant will provide 13% of energy needs during production hours and meet all the plant's electricity needs when manufacturing lines aren't operating. Silicon Ranch Corporation, based in Nashville, Tennessee, will own the solar park and sell the electricity to Volkswagen under a 20-year supply contract. Chinese module maker JA Solar has supplied the 33,600 PV modules for this plant, while the EPC was executed by Phoenix Solar Incorporated. Other Volkswagen plants using solar power include the main plant at Wolfsburg and a factory in Emden, Germany. According to the 2012 French electricity report published 2 weeks ago by France's transmission system operator, photovoltaic systems generated 4 terawatt-hours last year, which corresponds to a 66.7% increase in solar power output compared to 2011. Cumulative installed photovoltaic capacity in the country has now reached 3.5 gigawatts, of which 1.022 gigawatts were installed last year. Solar accounted for 0.79% of France's electricity demand in 2012, which is still much lower when compared to 4.8% in Germany and 5.6% in Italy. The U.S. Department of Energy's Sunshot Initiative is making available $12 million of funding for research to bridge the gap between the current highest PV efficiencies and the theoretical solar cell limits. Shockley and Quesser predicted a maximum efficiency of around 30% for a single-junction solar cell, and it has been accepted as the theoretical efficiency limit for solar PV. Another $9 million of funding was announced on 30th January for making use of new data analytics tools to accelerate solar energy deployment and realize further reductions in solar energy costs. The funding will be for research teams in California, Colorado, Connecticut, Massachusetts, North Carolina, and Texas to harness computational power to drive ongoing advances in solar PV. Saudi Arabia recently completed its biggest ground-mounted photovoltaic plant. The 3.5 megawatts PV system has been installed on the grounds of the King Abdullah Petroleum Studies and Research Center located in Riyadh. Owned by Saudi Arabian oil company Saudi Aramco, the ground-mounted system was designed and constructed by Phoenix Solar. It is equipped with 12,684 PV modules supplied by Suntech and covers an area of 55,000 square meters. The grid-connected system will supply an estimated 5,800 megawatt-hours of electricity every year. Saudi Arabia, the world's largest crude oil exporter, seeks to generate a third of its electricity with solar energy by 2032. The country aims to have 41,000 megawatts of solar capacity within 2 decades. According to media reports, China's Golden Sun demonstration projects achieved a total installation capacity of 4.54 gigawatts in 2012, up more than 500% from 2011. China's government has been aggressively promoting domestic demand as the country's solar industry faces punitive tariffs in the US and possibly similar measures in the EU. The reports stated the project's second phase of installation in the second half of 2012 reached 2.83 gigawatts, and these projects need to be completed before the end of June 2013. China's government has a budget of around $1.6 billion per year for the Golden Sun demonstration projects. IKEA, the world's leading home furnishings retailer, today officially plugged in the solar energy system installed at its South Florida store in the city of Sunrise, which will be the largest solar installation in South Florida and, when combined with IKEA projects already completed at top stores in Orlando and Tampa, will make IKEA the state's largest non-utility solar owner. This installation represents the 35th completed solar project for IKEA in the U.S., with 4 more locations underway, making the eventual U.S. solar presence of IKEA nearly 90% of its U.S. locations with a total generation of 38 megawatts. Consistent with the company's goal of being energy independent by 2020, IKEA has installed more than 250,000 solar panels on buildings across the world and owns and operates approximately 110 wind turbines in Europe. According to recently released data from the German Federal Network Agency, Germany installed 7.6 gigawatts of PV capacity in 2012, beating its annual record set in the previous year, which saw the country install 7.5 gigawatts. The agency has also announced a 2.2% reduction in Germany's monthly feed-in tariff. Under the new rate, operators of newly installed PV systems will receive between 11.5 and 16.5 euro cents per kilowatt-hour from February 1, 2013 until April 30, 2013. Germany now has about 32.8 gigawatts of installed PV capacity, which meets 4.8% of its annual electricity demand.